for the back. Okay, the sound quality is not going to be very good, but you know, such as life. Julie's out of the picture. It's probably a reason for it, but I'm going to move around there so that Julie can kind of like get slightly in, because she's sitting quite far away from the table for reasons which may become clear.
I've got my foot on the chair. Just uncomfortably.
Okay, you might want to sit forward. It's just a little bit so that you know, so it makes it a little bit easier. I don't have to have half my face on it. So, and my chest is literally against the table.
Oh wow.
Perhaps. Okay, thank you. Thank you. You're looking good, Julie. Okay, so Julie created an opportunity, fantastic, with the West Midlands Writers Group, and I probably, yeah, it was me, did a presentation. Julie helped sign of it, 3 parts to it, so on and so forth.
And Claude helped.
Well, of course, obviously assisted.
You put on notes, basically. I made some notes. You added some notes, and we put them on Claude.
Yeah, and it was very simple. And we thought, okay, let's just go with that, and introduced the problems that people are facing, and showed them how to share through scale. We didn't manage to do the workshop, you know, because there was only a few people. If there was more people, and more people clicking on the link, we'd have more people on the more activity in the app, which means that I can show what some of the people are doing, reflect back. But it was only one person that registered. It was Jonathan, the person who's convened, and so there's very little going on in the background. So we did manage to get the second part of that kind of like use case experiment going, and at the end we're saying, well, I've got other ideas, other things that you can take part in. You know, why not go for some blue sky thinking? You know, I kind of enjoyed that a bit, but as soon as it turned over to them, it was a couple of negative comments about the idea of the thing, and we got drawn into.
It's about 4, at least 4, if not half a dozen negative comments. Yeah.
Because basically, it's the social health is very low, and so they're just pointing out you can't trust people. People don't have nice. People don't know what other people like. You know, it's too complicated. It's like, right, and we got drawn into it a little. And I think when I see my recording of me, I think I was kind of like, I would say pushy to start with. I think I was just sharing, but then it's kind of, I get a little bit overbearing. And if I do that with kids, the kids turn off and they just go away and they're just not interested in the algebra, okay? So I felt that's what I did in the thing. And so I don't expect anything positive to occur out of it, which is a shame because it's one of the things that Julie spent a lot of time engaging, and we spent time speaking to Jonathan, and this is one of the very few opportunities of an invitation to do something. Okay, so
yeah, actually,
it's quite important. It's
always,
even though it's tiny, it's still the biggest one that you've got.
I went to a conference for half a day. I spoke to him online a couple of times, emailed him half a dozen times, I think. So I wasted a lot of time.
You invested a lot of time, okay? And we spoke to the guy, and instead of him being positive about it and trying to recommend it and spending a bit of time to go forwards with it or anything like that, he was one of the critical people. So we're literally getting invited into a space where we're sharing the thing, and he's being critical. So it's not really a proper invitation, okay? But the point is that this is what we're facing, without a shadow of a doubt. And how do we deal with it? And we dealt with it okay.
I think reflecting on how we dealt with things before Christmas, we kind of discussed, you know, not saying anything if people say something negative, or getting angry if people say something negative, or how to react and how going forwards we can move forwards with this. And in the end, we said about came with this idea of kind of standing our ground. We didn't call it still our ground. It was some phrase we came up with, but it meant kind of sticking to our ideas and what we believed in, rather than getting swayed or persuaded or dumbed down, or accepting people's criticism. Yes.
I never let anybody have a point of view that I think is erroneous, certainly about my own reality. And so I don't think I've ever agreed to anything other than trying to correct if somebody's got a disorder in their heads. However, I'm usually quite good at just facing whatever it is that people have without getting drawn in too much. Okay, but when you get groups where things happen, okay, it's a different dynamic. So one-on-one, I can usually avoid any kind of grief, and it's usually quite light, and so on and so forth. It's quite fun. Groups and group presentations, there's the dynamic psychosocially, because there's a large number of people listening, and a few of them are thinking negative thoughts or thinking this, that, and the next thing. And there's not a great opportunity to voice that. And rightly so, as far as I'm concerned, because it's all just the crappy system that they're in, you know? And so it's like going to people and saying, I've got an alternative, okay, to the fact that you're hungry, you know, the problems you're facing, constantly going every day, doing all this, hard work, blah, blah, blah. Got an alternative, you know. And that's what I do with kids. They sit there and they're just not interested in doing the algebra, they get stuck, it's complicated, and like, well, I've got an alternative. But it's over here. It's over here. And they go, no. It's like, no, don't worry, I'm not going to get drawn into how crappy you think it is.
So one thing you reflected on was the fact that I was too, you think I was too pushy, or we were too pushy.
No. I was very accurate, and it wasn't that, Julie. But say it again now, because we're saying it now, it's recording, but you can say that.
No, say what you said there. I think it's about pushy, and we're just pushy.
Well, you're right.
Yeah.
It's not quite pushy, it's more like,
I was
saying I felt like I'm kind of like overbearing, or kind of like.
I was just being very assertive, and maybe that wasn't appropriate for that kind of setting.
Quite.
But that's what I felt I was doing.
I know.
Which is how I was doing, what I felt I was doing. But anyway.
Not anyway, because that's no way of explaining absolutely anything, all right? What I saw, because I was doing my thing, it just meant that when you said your thing, you know, with the comments you made, I went, oh, they're good. But towards the end, when you started getting the flag, you were attempting to, you know, you were like this, just, you know, like that.
I was just challenging what I saw as misconceptions, really. But
I
was challenging them assertively.
I'm not saying anything negative. This is something that I saw, and it was like this, and then I was like,
experienced it. So yes, on commenting on my experience, you'll come into my observation. Yeah, I get that.
Good. So you might think that you are being assertive, but what I'm saying from my perspective is that you're into their reality, attempting to, you know, and it is in relation defending what we're talking about, but it's almost just like, oh, but there are some people that are, you know, and it is and coming up with potential ways to relieve whatever it is that they've got in their heads. And I'm sitting there saying, that's not going to work. And so when I saw that towards the end, I was like, oh, okay, right, no, it's not good. And I think I was doing a similar thing. And I tried to, and I thought about it. When you were doing that, I went, right, I must be doing a similar thing. Yeah? Okay, it isn't quite like that. It's more pushy in my point. I said, okay, and it's not because I'm going, oh, but I think it's possible. No, I go, no, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. However, it's pushy. And I don't like it. Okay, and I don't like it. Now you like what you're doing because you want to say it's assertive. I, on my side, I'm saying I don't like what I'm doing. I look at you and I go, I don't think that's going to work. But if you're happy with that and you think that's the right way of doing it, and it's you being assertive and it's positive and it's good and it works.
I haven't said it's the right way of doing it yet, have I?
Okay, no.
No, I haven't. But I have said that, you know, it's being assertive. I don't have a problem with being assertive with people, whoever it is. In terms of this context, then there is an opportunity for us to do something differently, which is what we discussed going forwards, in terms of accepting people are at in their reality and acknowledging that for them that is their experience and that they are having that experience. And then saying we have an alternative and just keeping it nice and simple and think it as that. So we're not getting wrapped up into
How?
positions or way of being. I'm just saying, I hear what you're saying. That's part of the current structural way of working that we're in. With our alternative, these are the things that will happen, or this is the what it can be like.
Okay, so there's a tendency, okay, that we just kind of like stick to, oh, okay, we're just going to say this at that point. Okay, these are the words we're going to use. Okay, when this
It's an
happens,
approach, isn't it? An approach.
I'm more interested in there's a deeper seated something, which means that the consequence of it is that doesn't happen. I don't have to think about the words, it just doesn't happen.
The negative comments don't happen.
No, if they do, it's like, okay, and my response will be whatever it is, and it works.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that would work.
Okay. The difference is you're saying
From what we discussed.
From what we discussed, you see, and it's something to do with we agreed on something, or it was understood to be something, and it'll be a bunch of words.
It's not scripted. It's more just an approach of recognizing the other person, what their experience is for them, because they are operating in that.
No, that's not what you're saying. You're saying defending ourselves.
No, I haven't said. Did I say defending?
That's what you said. That's what you said. That's what you said. That we said before and agreed. That's what we were to hold. Hold your ground or something.
Yeah, but we didn't call it that. We called it something else.
Okay, whatever. I don't know what terms you used. The point is you
That
said
was last year.
Okay, but you used it today to justify what happened.
That's because we came up with it last year. Yeah.
Right, and all I'm saying is that whatever we came up with that. Oh, funnily enough, we came up with that. Okay, right. Okay, but maybe it's because the ground that you say that we're on, all right, demonstrates like that. It isn't. It isn't that. It isn't what I was doing, and I don't think it's what you were doing. And yes, I'm doing a good thing. I'm countering something. Yes, you are too. Okay, there's no criticism of that. Okay, when I see it, it's a criticism of we're losing ground. There's something happening there that I don't like when I see it, and I can only see it in another person when I see it. And I think afterwards, I go, okay, I think I was doing the same.
It can be seen as, I suppose, some people say it's you're giving power away to someone else.
Yes, that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So the reason why I'm taking this time out with the money that I've got and everything else is not to give power to a system that eats everybody and everything and babies and everybody. I'm not interested in it. Right. So somehow I have to find enough power in myself, which I'm capable of doing when I'm one-on-one with people, but somehow when it turns into groups and stuff like that, it just disappears. Not sure why, not sure how. Okay, and so I have to go, to get something to happen. So that's what I'm attempting to do with the reframe. I'm trying to go back.
Transform the experience for them and for us.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the way I'm thinking is we create lots of stories, okay, that are verbalizing how I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, how I'd like it to be. And they're almost like scripts, they're like invitations to participate in this way of interacting. Okay, and we've not done enough. Simple as that. Okay, and so this thing from last year, it's the same thing from last year. And so does that help? Not really. And so it was an opportunity for sure. Okay, but we're not quite ready for it.
Well, he couldn't book it in last year. This was the earliest opportunity he got to book it. And he said, was it okay to book it in February? And he said, yeah.
That's right, because he's so busy, because so many people turn up, obviously, which was like 2.
I think
and then one person turned up, listened for a bit, and disappeared again.
People planned and booked in
already. Apparently.
Well, yeah,
no, I suspect. Do you know what I suspect?
That's what he said.
Julie, okay. Another part of our engagement that doesn't go well is you always think the best of people. Now, I don't think the worst of people. I think of a realistic possibility. It's not very nice, but it's quite realistic. You've forgotten. It wasn't happening. He had promoted it. So he gets a friend to turn up. He gets somebody else to turn up. That's not a nice thought. That's probably not true.
Mm.
I hope it's not true.
Mm.
Okay, I hope he does have like 17 people or whatever it is, 30 doing the course or whatever it is, and he gets large number of people turn up. But for this specific one, because he promoted it, only those people that could did, and it was only those people. Maybe.
Mm. You will never know.
Okay, and you're quite happy about not knowing that, isn't it?
I'm not saying I'm happy with that. I'm saying we won't know unless you ask him
Okay.
directly.
And how many people do you think are going to answer?
No,
Do you
ask
think
him
directly?
directly.
How many people do you think when we ask
But
questions like
that's
that
why I
directly?
say, but I don't think we'll ever know.
That's not why you said that. You said that before for another reason. Now you're saying that, and it's
Well,
not for
say
the
it
reason you
again.
said before.
I'll say it again for the same, you know, we're not going to find out, basically.
We've had this conversation with other people when we engage people, and you just go away going, well, you know, I'm just quite happy having my positive attitude about people. That's the problem with that stance, your stance.
And the problem with your status is that you're taking the negative, and we don't know either side, either the positive or the negative. We don't know the actual truth of it unless you ask the person. And they might not tell us the truth, so we'll never know.
And you're telling me, a person who asks people direct questions throughout its entire life, you're saying, we'll never know.
Not like
Unless
that.
we ask directly, which you never do.
I don't say it like that. I'm just saying.
So don't you want to engage the person you're talking to as a person who has asked people directly and not just discounted their experience?
I haven't discounted it.
You have. You just said.
I'm not going to argue with you, okay? I like you as a person. I respect you. I've done a lot of this. This is about something that we've worked on together to do, okay? As always, I'm interested in moving forward. As always, I'm interested in the reflection of it.
You're not that interested.
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to copy the way you shake your head or imitate the way you move your mouth or do anything like that.
Yeah.
That's not pleasant. But I do.
Okay. I signal that. I signal.
I am listening, and I am here. I have been by your side with it. I have done what I thought was my best, and I have engaged someone in order to move scale forwards an alternative economic.
You're going from the detail to the general.
I'm going from my experience, what is my truth of what I've done.
Okay. And we're talking about something that happened half an hour ago. We're talking about certain things that happened and our inability to avoid them from happening. And therefore we have to question aspects of our existence that prevent us from learning from these experiences and going forward. But you can interrupt me if you wish.
We're talking about ways forward, which we'd said, we'd agreed and said that would be to accept what their experience is as part of the machine and part of their experience within the old systems, to recognise, not accept it, but recognise it for what it is, not to engage in a way which comes across as pushy, and then to say what the alternative is.
Okay.
In a nice way.
Yeah, you're jumping to that, okay, which is very nice.
I was just repeating what I said earlier on, because that's what we'd gone for, and so that was the way forward. Okay.
When you come up with a solution like that, okay, sadly, something that happens afterwards is a repetition. Slightly different, because it's a different context, different people, different things that are said.
Yeah, it can be different things that are said, but for me, if my mentality going into it is we just recognise what their experience is and we don't kind of counter or challenge it, we just say, well, this is an alternative, and as you said earlier on, we say to them, yeah, that's okay, that's what you want to carry on doing, but this is alternative, this is what we're sharing with you. That's very kind of, you know, it's not having a script, it's just having that attitude in mind, but recognise what they're doing and we present what we're doing.
Yeah, that is the solution that I think could work, but I'm not sure if it's grounded. Okay, so it's like a little formula, and as soon as something starts to happen, I can imagine you going to do this thing, and then afterwards I'll go, wait a minute, we weren't actually engaging live.
But I have faith and trust in myself that that wouldn't be the case.
Okay, and I'm telling you that when you do something, because it's something that we agreed upon in the past, That's the quality of raising alarm bells.
And I'm saying that if we have an approach of how we're engaging people, we have an approach. You said earlier on we need an approach. You stood over there and said, I don't think about words, I want to think about an approach. And the approach is accepting where they are and what they're saying. As in,
I know that already. Okay, but when we engage people, it slides.
But it won't slide for me going on forwards. And it didn't slide before, it was a different approach that we discussed.
Okay, in which
so
case,
for me, I can change to another approach.
That's fine, don't worry. Julie, I'm hearing it, it's recorded, great. And at some point over this next period, we might end up talking to people, and then I'm going, okay, right, I know it's different, and I know there's some qualities, very, very different people, different situation, might not be talking about writer's thing, might be something else, and you will go, last time we agreed, blah, 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 and I'll go, now this is the issue, and I'll come back to this time, I'll be saying, that's the thing that you said last time.
So you don't have any faith in me at all.
And that's what you said last time.
Because you said this last time as well. And you said, oh, you won't talk.
And it happens again. But this time we've got a recording.
No, last time you said I wouldn't talk, I wouldn't say anything, I wouldn't stand up for what we were doing. And this time I feel I did. So there is, that was what you said last time. And I said to you, oh,
there are different times, we've had different things happen.
To do that. And you said, no, I don't think you would, or you can do, or something like that. And I said, well, I will. And you said, okay, then, let's try. And I did. Maybe it wasn't in quite the right way, or maybe it wasn't quite suitable.
Fine, I understand. But what I'm trying to suggest, and look at yourself, Julie. Okay, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna. You're saying you don't argue. I don't want to argue either. I'm just going to go right. Okay, hopefully it's going to work in the future. Yeah, I'll take your word for it, and it's going to be fine. Right. I still haven't finished, but okay, you finished. It's done. It's dealt with. It's not a problem. Great. Okay, great. Sorry, that's your method, right? So if you don't mind, I'll just carry on for a little bit, okay, and say things to you in the future. Is that okay?
I think if you're saying things, if you are thinking of me negatively in the future, then no, it's not okay.
No, positively.
You're thinking of me positively.
Well, okay, if we have not managed to succeed in the future, and there's been a failure, apologize for that, my participation in that, but it's a tricky fucking job that we're doing, as you appreciate. And so the solution for it, I feel.
I appreciate it. I know. I've experienced it.
What?
That it's difficult and it's tricky.
Yeah, and that was an example of it earlier. And the experience that we've just gone through, right, in the future, okay, and anybody who's watching this just goes, yeah. But most people are just well, nobody's watching this, but in the future they'll remember me, be able to go, yeah, it's the crappy system. The crappy system is you have to sell lots of numbers, sell yourself, put a lot of time in, sell your time, the endless amount of permutations of that. Okay, and for whatever reason, our communication, however positive intent we have, slides into this crappy method, system engagement. And we got suckered by it again, didn't we? Yeah. Okay, now, how do we prevent that from happening? So, the new language for today, which we attempted to describe, was, I thought that we got drawn into their, let's say, negative statements. Okay. And they were, for example, there's two levels to this one. One is one of them was saying, what about people, and I'm just imagining here, I'm imagining people that don't have an extensive network, of positive-minded people. And so you're like, oh, but wait a minute, and you wanted to counter that. Challenge that. Okay, that's fine, quite reasonable. And my challenge was, you don't need a big network. Boom. Okay, yours was, no, right. Okay, but mine was, well, I just want to, but the problem is, he's saying something. Okay, and it's something we're hearing. Let's put it here so you can see it, right? So put it closer to you, right? Because you're over there, right? So saying something, and it's this, and it's about people, right? Now, number one is coming from that person. So when he says people don't have a network of people that are friendly and everything else, potentially, and I think it's a reasonably realistic perspective, he's talking about himself. Right? Because, you know, he's eking out a life, he's getting some money from some charity thing to improve the network of writers. It's a tough world, there's competition, there's salespeople, there's loads and loads of things, da, 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 da. And it's just like a tough world. And he knows that. So when he says there are some people that don't, I just go, oh yeah, it's not just some people. I think he's talking from experience. Right, so instead of going some people, let's just conflate it back to he is having this experience. Makes life easier for me. Okay, right. People don't. As far as I'm concerned, so that's one bit. It's not an object of thought. Because then you talk about people, and then oh, we know people. Oh, look, there are some people that could be positive. Oh, there are some of them. No. I try to do it by saying, oh, it doesn't. No, it's not be a network. It could just be one person. Why am I talking about this? Why am I talking about his imagined thing of people? Oh, okay, I've got an imaginary thing of people. I can imagine a different thing. I can imagine it's like that, but it's more like that. And Julie's is like, oh no, it's not quite like that. It's more like, you know, it's more like this. And you're like, who cares? Why are we talking about it? It's just like, it's not important, it's not relevant, and it's not part of what we're doing. We're drawn into it. Yeah. So the theory, or the new way of trying to make perspective on it, was like, okay, that's why we're spending a year to try to create the reality around us, such that when anybody does any kind of pointing of any description towards any aspect of reality, we go, no, we're interested in the person who's pointing, not what they're pointing to. And number two, the person's out there in the system. It's a nightmare. However,
so how do we, just before we go on to that, how do we, so you say we're interested, I get you so far, but then we say we're interested in the person, not what they're pointing to. How do we remind them of that in that moment when they're being negative?
The verbalizations that you're suggesting.
Right.
Yeah, but that's not the deepest part. The deepest part is this. We're over here. It's not a statement, it's not countering with some words. No. We are here. Okay? We are doing this, and we've got enough stories, and enough narrative, and enough belief, and enough whatever it is between us to hold the space that we do not collapse out of. Now, you know this, and I think you know this, okay? And then if we manage that, it means that when...
So they know it, but you only think I know it.
After all of that, Julie, do you see? Okay. Okay, you know it. Okay, it's just that we forget it. I know it, but I forget it. In the engagement with the other, in the engagement of object of thought, you go for object of thought all the time. You love it. I do too. Okay, but we're saying no. No, that's like just an absolutely no-brainer. We cannot follow the direction of thought of other people. We just cannot do it. We just cannot. We cannot. Why can't? No. Okay, but if we do, oh, that's it. No. It's coming from a person. We must acknowledge that. Okay, it's a person saying that. Okay, great. And we acknowledge that they're in this crappy system, and therefore anything that they say is not surprising. It's not surprising. But I don't need to put any positive on it because it is crappy. And you have a tendency to be positive. You have a tendency to engage a person and try to help them. And it's just your natural tendency. And good. It's good quality. And so if you want to say...
Anyway, we stick with what's happened today. What's happened, not just me generally as a person, and what I'm generally like, what you think I'm like, etc. It kind of goes off the point. So
it's not off the point.
It is to do with this particular example.
It's not about this particular example. Do you see? Okay, it's about, can we create the conditions, and when we're just together and we're starting to do things, it works fine. Okay, any contact with external existence. So it's tricky.
Not any. It's a high challenge. We've had a lot of really good engagements with people. And then we've had some that haven't been so good.
Okay, for me, I mean, as in virality.
Outcomes. There's been no outcomes, is what we need to.
Well, we've had an outcome. For example, all the time you took, we had this thing. Okay, and it's true, and it's good, and it's positive, and it's a thing that happened. We didn't make use of it as much as we could have. I didn't play as well as I potentially could have.
So going on from,
why do we always just keep on going forward? It's like, what's wrong with a bit of present moment, a bit of like, okay, look backwards, look forwards, look, okay, where are we, and what are we doing, okay, as we continue going forwards? Or do we just go, oh well, I put a label on it, put it in a box, throw it away, but let's go forwards, as we were doing yesterday.
No, you didn't finish your point about this, that's what I was thinking, before we went on to that.
So you want to return to this?
You haven't gone back to this. Yeah, you said 2 points and you said one out of the 2.
No, I've said 2. One is that we do not go for the chasing the point. Okay, so we have to deal with the person. Okay, so that's number. So don't go for this. But also, oh, but wait a minute, there's a person. Oh, we have to take care of them. We have to somehow. No, we don't.
Yeah.
We don't have to solve their problem. Okay, and that's a big one for you. Okay, and it's also for me. Because I have a tendency to go, person, right? I'll deal with the person. I'll deal with the person. Okay, so tell us, one-on-one, I can do it. And then I can find out a bit more about them, find out, Okay, and then I can communicate their reality, help them in their reality. Oh, by the way, this is what I'm doing. Right. But that doesn't work in a group. Does not work in a group unless that person's up and I'm doing something with them and it's being demonstrated with other human beings that I'm doing. Right. But in a group, when you're presenting something, which I detest, okay, but I don't, okay, it's just, I don't think it's very efficient. So we can't even deal with the person because they're part of a group. And it's like in a classroom, the kids like that, you're just like, okay, there's lots happening, and no, I can't actually deal with this kid, whatever problem that they've got. Okay, and I can do that socially just about, but I can't seem to do it with adults because they kind of demand attention. And then, you know, an adult said something about this, and then I said, oh, okay, well, and then I'm there, oh, but what about this point? What about that point the person brought up? And it's like, oh, God. Or if I focus on the person, then they don't want the focus to be on them. Because they're talking about this. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm picking on a person, or I'm you know, just drawing too much attention to them, or it's taking too much time, or it's like bloody hell, because there's a complex system around that person. And it's not just that one person, it's that group, and it's the whole framework around them and everything else. And it's just like, I can't deal with that. Yeah. So you're quite right in saying, right, can we just, as you're saying, I'm happy about going forward, it's just going, right, well, you know, that's what you're doing, that's the system, there are systemic disorders, and you can say it in a nice way, and you can say it in a nice way, you know, in a way which is measured, not just go, you know, do it in a self-contained, you know, quite clear, you know, almost apologetic, you know, until they kind of stop. Okay. Or something, or come up with different ways. And you might want to rehearse it, you might want to come up with ways of describing it. For me, I'm not very good at that. I deal with whatever it is. But however, we're not getting drawn into it. We're not getting drawn to the point of attention. And also we're not getting drawn into their system. And so I like that. I'm like, okay, so we are just going to focus on our thing. Great. However, it shouldn't be a rule. I don't think we can operate it like it's a rule. That's my problem.
Okay.
Now, for you, it might be the way you work, and it is, clearly. So therefore, I think it's about, well, how can we...
It's, for me, it's knowing where we're at, because often after a a discussion or presentation, there's quite a lot of finding the failure and finding the faults. And that will come down to, you didn't do that, you didn't do that, or you didn't say that, or you didn't say that, or that was said in that way, that was said in that way. So for me, going forwards, it's far better, healthier, easier to have a clear idea, a clean-cut way of dealing with things. So then we go, oh, we tried that. That was something we discussed. That did work with that, didn't work with that. We can change it, adapt it, but this is what we're trying. Otherwise, it'll default back into the, oh, you didn't say that way, you didn't do that, you didn't respond to that, you were like this, you were like, and then it becomes that, just that again. So I like, it's part of knowing where you kind of stand, basically. You just have this, okay?
Okay, so as far as I can tell, our engagement in what we're doing when we're producing stuff is fine. Okay, as soon as we engage people, because of the system, because of the problems in the system, we start dissolving into the current system, into how people are behaving. I do too. Okay. And I'm suggesting that we somehow have enough something about what we're doing that doesn't happen. So I don't have to worry about it. Okay, now I have a tendency. Maybe I should move seats. Why don't you sit over there?
I just tend to be back, I think.
I know. So I'll
Not
move
really
forward a
back.
bit more. Okay.
So you were saying you tend to get drawn into.
Yeah, because it's inevitable with a group, and especially if you're invited by somebody and stuff like that. It's just like, if you're invited, we're invited properly to share something that people go, what are you about here? Challenging, but absolutely amazing. I'd be like,
Yeah, I think you have a good point. The way it's almost, I call it like stage setting.
yeah. Yeah. But today it was like, oh, you can introduce yourself, because basically you probably couldn't remember very much. And so I introduced myself, you did our way forwards, and it was okay. It was perfect. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was okay. Wasn't it? No, it wasn't terrible. But maybe I go into too many details with a couple of things. Maybe, and that's not the right time. But basically, it's straightforward. And it's very challenging. How can that work? Okay, well, that's how it works. You put money into that works. Oh no, it's too complicated. No, just straightforward. And I have a tendency to want to explain it, and I know it's not a good idea. So we should maybe, and I've said this before, it's like, okay, cut it off and just go, no, don't explain how it works. Just go for, this is all you have to do to share it forward. We'll do another workshop and we can, this is how it works, gift party and everything else. But right now, this is the effect, and all you have to do is share it forward with money. Okay, and you just leave it like that. People go, that sounds really easy. There we go. But how does it work? Don't worry, we can share that another time. Oh, it's like snake oil. Part of the negative system. It's like, it isn't, but what can we do?
I'm so sad. I still lost the second point. I know the first point is the social structures people are where they are, and then how to find out.
First point is object of attention.
Yeah,
we are not dealing with the object of attention. We're going back to the person. Second point is, we don't even actually deal with person.
Right.
Do you understand? Because of the complexity of the system that they're involved in. And as soon as we start to engage that, we get, oh gosh, we're in it. And our little space evaporates out the door.
Right.
So we get that. I've managed to stabilize that. I think in this new way of thinking about spaces, as opposed to temporal time periods, whatever. Okay, so how do we make sure that we don't engage with them? Okay, yes, it's very nice what you're saying. Oh, okay, okay. Well, you're still engaging them. And some people won't like that. You're still engaging people. And then some people say, oh, you don't answer your question. And then you stop. You're still engaging. Whatever it is that you're saying, you're still engaging.
Ignore them, but but really not like that.
No, we can't ignore them. Well, actually, for some classes, that's what you do. If there's some kids, you just like, oh god, okay, just carry on, and hopefully it'll just die
But
down.
these are adults that have the gumption and confidence and articulation to just repeat it or say, you've actually ignored me.
Yeah, that's fine. Do you see? And so it's probably not a good idea. Okay, and so it's, the issues with adults is different. Okay, but all I'm trying to say is that there's a bunch of things that can be done, and everything you do or don't do is having an effect socially in the current system. And as soon as you engage it or don't engage it in any shape or form, you're getting drawn into. So, oh, but if we do this and if we do that, if they say this, then we do that. I say, look, no, it's like the bicycle. It's like the bicycle. Oh, but I can fall, and then it's stopping, and I don't know if I'll be able to stop. Anything like that. So, but thinking nothing either, just sitting there on the bicycle, just thinking absolutely nothing. And just,
Jerome didn't talk about all that.
Sorry, but you're good at that. Right, cool. But the trick about it, okay, it's not a bad thing. Okay, but when it works is you go on, and what we managed to ascertain is you get on and you go. Okay, there is no pausing. Okay, there's some aspect of it. You just go on and you go. As soon as you go on and anything happens, whether it's the cam or the thinking about it, we're going to be here for a while. Okay, but if it's like get on and go, so get off, do whatever you want to do. And they go, are you ready? Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, get on, go. That was the detail. I thought, oh, we could try that. Do you see? That's beautiful. Yeah, we're going to get that go. Yeah.
How does that apply to if someone's being negative? So I say to you, oh, I don't get this. I don't understand. This is way too complicated.
That's a wobble. That's a wobble.
So, but what do you say in reply? Nothing.
No. That's us on the bicycle before going, thinking, I'm going to wobble. Okay, then you try, oh, I'm wobbling. What do I do? No. The point about it is, gyroscopically, the bicycle will just go forwards.
But when a person says a negative thing,
you're wanting the answer. All I'm saying is that you don't think that. You don't think about why? Because the gyroscopic effect.
But then the anger
wait a second.
to come in.
No. It's okay. No. You're thinking of the negative thing. You're doing exactly what they're doing. Any form of engagement is drawing into the system of their engagement. Right. Okay, but why do we do it? Yep, that's part of it too.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not suggesting that's a good way forward. I'm saying if those are bad ways forward or bad approaches, what's the good approach?
There is no good or bad to it. Maybe you can be skillful with it, but it just starts to happen. It is inevitably part of being part of the engagement in their system. That's true. Whether it's good or bad, whether it's skillful or not skillful, whether it's keepable or not keepable, it starts to happen.
So how can you just deal with it?
Well, luckily on a bicycle, there's a gyroscopic effect, and for us, we have stabilized a certain dynamic that occurs, which is concurrent and positive, and just stabilizes, and it's more attractive and interesting than whatever it is that anybody else is talking about. Because that's how it works between us. It just sounds better. It's just like, it feels better. It looks better. Now, we can't do that in person because we're dealing with very low social health. It's not your fault. And it's not my fault. Okay? It's basically everybody else's fault. Okay? But when we take part in it and we get drawn into it, it's definitely our fault too. Because we have a tendency to do that. Because of our better natures, because it's reasonable, because we're that. All good, but still, it's not working. Now, if you want the slow route, take the slow route. Take it, please. However, I like the idea of getting it right. Beautiful. Okay? And it's easy. And it's natural. Like when you go on the bicycle and you make use of the gyroscope effect, and it's just quite easy. Once you get into the easy way of riding a bike, it's easy. When I teach kids algebra and they get into the easy way of doing algebra, guess what? It's easy.
So how with adults in a group? So,
I don't know.
okay.
Okay, but what I'm thinking is that we need to get enough gyroscopic effect that our social interaction is better. Now, I know that we've stepped away from that one, and it's not important. Okay, but I thought we did well. I thought I said some stuff, then you said some stuff, it was fine. It was only when we started to slide into their reality. Okay, it started to lean. You started to lean. And so and I was leaning. I was leaning too.
So what's the alternative to that?
We don't
You
lean.
can have a discipline to go, I'm not going to go there with that
No.
person.
There is no what's the thing after that. It's not a post-conscious thought. It's a thing that just it prevents from happening in the first place. And that's the trust. It's about, do I trust you and your thoughts and what you're going to do? No. What I will trust is the person being beside me, which I did, and I do always. That's my natural thing. But is it good enough? Well, it depends. You know, we're facing
the person.
Huh?
Depends who the person.
No, you're willing. You're willing to give it a go. That's the point. I mean, that's how you manage to engage me. You go, ooh, let's have a laugh. Let's have fun, and that's great. And we kind of, okay, I'm no longer wanting that to happen. Okay, I just like the idea of that. Okay, and I think that's the way forward. Okay, but that's the effortless way to do it. But if it's not that, it kind of has to be, you know, something like the traditional way, which requires learning externally the things that need to be articulated, so that when this is said, this happens, when that happens, this happens, when that happens, this happens, when that happens.
It doesn't need to be that carefully scripted or that even that thought through, or even words and phrase thought through. It just has to be a kind of something. It needs to be something to replace.
Okay, and I'm suggesting, why don't we try and write a script? Okay, so I've got this before in the past. I've gone, okay, can we do a meta script? So people can see, oh, this alternative release. That's what we've been talking about, the meta reel. Now, we did do it for this, and I thought about it, but I didn't write it, and I should have maybe. Just go, this is a possible way that it would go forwards, and if anybody read it, they might kind of, did everybody read that story? A couple of people. Do you like it? Do you like the idea? And you go, oh, yeah, that's kind of this idea. Okay, great. No, I think it's not realistic. Oh, okay, thanks. And the ones that don't, have a look at it now while we're going to be yapping away. If what I'm saying is great, stick with it. And if it's not, have a read of that. That's it. That sounds like fun. That just sounds like fun. All right. But I didn't do it to the rest. Maybe it was a missed opportunity. Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Okay, right. So, but that's what we're going to be doing, I think. Okay, we're trying that meta, real engagements. Okay, and so we're not just conversations. It's just like just stories. It's like, oh no, we're trying to literally frame the stories of the conversations that we're having with people, because we can do something together, and we can write something separately currently, but you know, we'll see together. And can we construct separately stories or whatever? Just construct stories that do something interesting. Yeah.
And then use them in that space when people are like that.
No, beforehand, you prevent it from happening. Because we're demonstrating in that how to do it. So instead of you having to think about, well, put it in a story. Put it in a story. So if they do this person says that. Fine, do it, write it. So the person says that, and then you say, but then another person thinks, oh, that's a bit rude, or and then you deal with that in a nice way. And I go, fantastic. Okay, so that's it, brilliant. So you can get through the way that you like to do it by writing a story. Okay, and I get to do it by going, have you read the story? I don't actually have to do anything. Sorry. I can just turn up. Do you like the story? And they go, yes. I go, great. And if they say no, I go, oh okay, what do you do? Does that make it nice? It's nice, yeah? Right. So that was one part. So I think that's a good way of going forward, okay? And what we're trying to say is we're on the ground that our psychosocial relation and all the stories we've got and the bubble that's around me, potentially you as well, potentially us, That is the thing that they are trying to get into. They wish to be in this part, not trust out. So it's a mistake. So even when the person saying, actually what they're saying is, I want to know the maths. I want to actually be able to do this thing. However, they say it in completely the wrong way. Because they're worried, or they're anxious, or the reality, or they're getting paid, or whatever it is. And it's like, okay, but you're not bringing that in. You're drawing us out, and we can't deal with that. So here we go. And how we say that, and we do it in a nice way, just as a, okay, look, it really is this. Okay, this is what we're doing. But I make a mistake of going things like, once this happens, and then everybody just goes, oh, okay, once it's successful, I'll use it. That's the problem. The default start says, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to try it, but once they get it successful, I'll come back. And that's a problem. We need to have something that's exciting and interesting enough, and we're saying it the right way, which I'm not doing, that people go, yeah, I'm going to give it a go. I think I'm the right person to do this. I think it's quite easy.
They did say the principle of it was easy.
The practice of it is very easy. The principle is very easy, but contravenes everything that they know. Yeah. And it's a bit like walking and balance on a bicycle, or algebra. Adding, subtracting, getting sums, and then it's like, it's not like that. Okay, what is it like? Well, and you have to do these three things simultaneously. Trying to get those, what's the minimal set for us to do this thing simultaneously. I suspect we'll have to do three things. Because nearly everything will come up with three things. So, can we think about this? What time's it now? 31 minutes. What are the three things that we need to do to make sure, what are the three practices to be able to say hold it, but it's more like dynamic flow. It's more like get on a bicycle and pedal. It's got to be something like put the right effort in equally. Maybe you talking, me talking. That's not bad. Okay. Listening. You listening, I'm listening. It gets a bit tricky when you have like 8 people or 10 people together. How can we all be equally listening? It is possible. It is possible. Well, but the emphasis is on listening. Because the talking reduces the more people we have. But that actually increases if it's listening. So there has to be about listening. Okay, so that's the pedaling bit. The bicycle, kind of look forwards. Don't look down. Don't look down. Don't think about this, that, and the next thing. Just kind of look forwards. It's kind of empty, kind of looking forwards. Yeah, I don't want to know. I don't want to be worried about what somebody says, doesn't say, what they say, what somebody says. It's like it's too. So what's the equivalent? In algebra, it's I'm in for x. Throughout all of this, whatever happens, I'm going to be an x on one side and equal on the other. Great. And I will navigate absolutely anything to get it down to that. How simple. I need to have a target. The target is, it's very simple. The target has to be very simple. It has to be like, do you get the idea? Shout for it. Whatever it is, you like what you're hearing, shout for it. It has to be that, just that. In every engagement we have, with any recorded engagement, shout for it. Like that? I don't know if it's that one. And okay, pedaling outside, look forwards, and get rid of stuff. Now, getting rid of stuff are like tricks. So, for example, for you, it's starting on the step. I did it, don't worry, I did it as a kid. Okay, as a person.
I've said to you once, I don't want to talk about it and carry on talking about it.
Swimming the same as well. All right, okay. With algebra, okay, well, look, okay, algebra, because you obviously know about algebra. So here we go. Get rid of stuff. Okay, so I'll give you 2 little tricks, and then basically it's just a whole bunch of tricks about what you're trying to do, which means it's a bit like, oh, when there's a curve, or when you go too fast, or da, da, da. So you have to do something.
Mm.
And so you start off with some kind of equation. Oh, by the way, the equal sign is the equation. That's the equivalent is whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. It's like the pedals. You have to put enough force and equal to be able to remain balanced. Otherwise, gravity pulls you down. So with us, it's very simple shear force. Okay, that's it. We're having a good time, shear force.
Mm.
You know, have a few drinks. Right, we did that one, but get rid of stuff. So get rid of stuff means in algebra, do the inverse, or what was the other trick? Do the inverse function, get rid of stuff. Well, so if you've got a +4, how do you get rid of a +4? How do you get rid of a +4? How do you get rid of a +4? What mathematical operation or arithmetic operation to get rid of a +4? Okay, how do you get rid of a -4? Any guesses? Any guesses out there? Okay, what do you think when I say inverse function, inverse operation? What's the opposite of that? Okay, this is just because you don't want to talk about bicycles, yeah? You know what the opposite. When I tell you, you'll go, well, yeah, I knew that. It went through my head. I just didn't say it. I know. Don't worry. Don't worry. At some point, hopefully, you will. Just verbalize it.
It's going to be one of the signs, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Mm.
Take a guess. Say one of the signs, and I'll give you.
Quickly, we just tell us all.
No, go for it. Just say it. One out of four. 1 out of 4 chance. Well, if I say what's the opposite of +4, then it's not going to be a plus. So give me one of the others. So it's 1 out of 3. Here we go.
That's division, multiplication, and subtraction.
Yeah, which would be the opposite of adding is. I don't know. See, I don't know what goes on. Okay.
If I have 4 apples and I want to take them off someone, then I take them. Subtraction.
That's it. That's it. Okay. You know, that's it. And if you have a group of people, okay, somebody says it, and they go, and everybody else goes, oh yeah, like that. That's fine. That's good enough. You don't have to be the first, and you don't have to be to know. You just have to go, oh, that's true. There we go. Right. And by acknowledging the truth of it, it makes it easier. That's all. And so, yeah, the opposite of +4 is -4. So it's inverse operation. That's the language for the inverse, right? And, it's the inverse should be something that most people, we should be, by the time we're adults, kind of know what that means. But it's tricky because you get the converse, and you get the obverse. You go, Christ, what do those words mean? Well, maths, okay, it means this. Oh, okay, phew, right, I've got a mathematical understanding of opposite. Yeah, you do. So +4, take away 4, because it goes down to 0. Yeah, it's gone. 0. Not there. Fantastic. So, so if you've got -4, what's a -4? Well, I don't even know. But if you've got -4, how do you put it to 0? +4. It's gone. 0. Right. So you're getting rid of things, which is great. So when you're looking at an equation and you've got a +4 in there, and you're like, oh, I don't want that +4 there. I've got x +4. I don't want that +4. How do I get rid of it? Take away 4. But if you take away 4 on one side, what must you do to the other? Exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take away 4 on the other side. That's it. That's it. Okay. And that's what the equal sign is. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, but the trick is, okay, get rid of stuff. Okay. Like what? And the other trick, sorry, the first one I usually say actually is get rid of stuff furthest away from the unknown in algebra. So if you've got 2x plus 3 is equal to, I don't know, 2x plus 3 is equal to 11, right? So, well, the 2 is very close to the x.
Mm-hmm.
It's very close. Don't get rid of that first. Get rid of that plus 3. Get rid of that plus 3. Because then you only have 2x, which is a lot easier than 2x plus 3. How do you get rid of plus 3? Take away 3. took away 3 on one side, what must you do on the other side? 11 taken away 3, 8. 2x equals 8. Now get rid of 2. Wait a minute, what does 2x mean? It means 2 times x. What's the opposite of times? Division. So what we're going to divide by? Well, it's 2 times. We'll divide by 2. Brilliant. What's 2 divided by 2? 2 divided by 2. How many 2's are in 2? 1. Oh, 1x. Oh, yeah, look, it's just x. What's up with x? It's so cool. All right, so how do we do that again? We divide it by 2. Oh, but wait a minute. If you divide that side by 2, 2x by 2. Okay, what must we do to the other side? Divide by 2. Oh, 8 divided by 2 is 4. X equals 4. Is that the answer? Well, yes.
So then getting rid of stuff is by adding?
That's the problem. That's why I say get rid of. I don't say take away stuff, because then everybody goes, oh, it's the take away. No, I say get rid of stuff. And people say, oh, that's a bit vague. No, it's really cool.
So based on what you've just said, is that adding then? How does the algebra kind of link to that idea of getting rid of something?
Didn't I just explain it? 2x plus 3 is equal to 11. Okay, I'm going to have x equals whatever the answer is on the other side of the answer. Right, how do I go from 2x plus 3 is equal to 11? How do I get to x equals? So I look at my 2x plus 3. I've got plus 3. I don't want the plus 3. I just want it like 2x. How do I get rid of plus 3? I took away 3. Yeah? Because I've taken away 3 on one side.
And do it on the other side.
Right, so 11 take away 3 is 8.
So therefore, to get rid of things, you take things away.
No, because if you say take away, then everybody thinks you're talking about subtract. So I'm saying just get rid of stuff by doing the inverse function. That's one precision or the inverse operation. You have to do the opposite of. So if it's a plus 3, we're trying to take away 3. If it's times by 2, we have to divide by 2.
So in a situation, in a discussion, a group discussion, instead of, this is what's related to.
Okay.
So relating it to a group discussion then, instead of, that's what I said, instead of taking stuff away, you're adding something.
Well, when somebody contributes something like that, you're like, oh God, we're just adding a lot more to our equation. We've got 2x plus 3 is equal to 11. Let's add 7. Okay, 2x plus 10. Oh, but we've added 7 at that side, so we have to add 7 at the other side. So it's 18. Okay, let's multiply it by x, both sides by x. Okay, all right, let's multiply. It's just going to get more and more complicated. And that's what people are doing. And then it gets more complicated. We try to counter it, but then at the end of it, they go, wow, that's really complicated. And you've got
so
an equation.
So in your example then, we just add something to either side that makes sense.
Not add,
or
get rid of stuff. Not take away. Try to use language precisely as I can. Get rid of stuff. Reduce, what did I say? Omit. No, omit's not good. Eradicate. Okay, so you're trying to simplify because at the bottom of it, it's x equals, or in our case, shared forwards. So whenever it's happening, you're saying, we're saying, okay, but other people's contributions are like, okay, it's not bad, but you know, it's going to get more complicated. So,
they're adding the 7.
Huh?
They're adding the 7.
They're adding the 7 to it, and then let's say they say, oh, but what about x? And like, okay, let's multiply by x. That means for x brackets, 2x plus 10 is equal to x times 10. That's 10x. We've got x on both sides now. How are you going to do this? It just gets more and more complicated. And that's the problem with people's contributions. And that's why listening is more important. What are we trying to listen to? Shared forwards. You mean it's as simple as shared forwards? Yes. What did you get? The point that they go, therefore, it's shared forwards. Bingo.
That's what she said. But so the idea is then we don't. So they don't make contributions, then it can't get complicated. Is that the idea?
Well, that's part of it. The contribution should be try and use the app. And sadly, a workshop where people don't use the app is not really a workshop, is it? Right, it's called a workshop, it's talk track. So we have to say to people, people need to kind of do this experience, yeah? If you don't do the experience, there's no point in us going forward. How many people are willing to do this?
So it would be, okay, so frame it like that, and then it would be, you need to listen to the end.
Okay, for those people that are not willing to do it, I think you should leave. Because you're going to be the outside, and because you're on the outside, it won't make sense, and then you'll contribute things that are complicated, and whereas everybody's doing it will be inside understanding it. And what happens in groups is that the people on the outside usually want to criticize and complain because they're not having experience. So it's just not tenable. So it doesn't work. So it's not we're being horrible about it. We're just saying, if you're willing to go for it, just click on that, get on the thing, and everything's good. If you don't want to, that's okay. That's good. But it's a workshop. It's about this. So we just hold that line. It's not bad. See, it's not bad. Another one is, by the way, is it also allows us to track value. So if anybody does anything which is like not great, or says things that are not happy, it's not really great, it's not very nice, or in fact, rude or negative or anything like that, and they persist with it, then we're tracking value amongst ourselves. So there's social accountability. Also, if you don't share forwards, if you're not participating in kind of trying to do the thing, then that is also tracked, and there are consequences to that in the future. People are like, bloody hell, I don't want to be doing this. That's how we do social accountability. So if we're going to be doing anything with any change makers, the social accountability one is probably a good one. We don't have to mention that to anybody else. That's not bad though.
Right.
But do you see that it starts to emerge, things like that emerge quite nicely. That had popped before. Why not? You see, that's the learning. Okay, so that means next time, is this what we need to do? Yes. Okay, we'll do a transcript of this and say, what are the things that we need to do next time if we ever do a workshop again with anybody? Yeah, we like that? Okay, and so the idea is we try and create the space so that you can bring yourself and I can bring myself, and we just don't get caught up in just old methods.
Okay.
Right, anyway, that was all just part one. Part two was, what are we doing in terms of making money? Do you want to talk about that, or are you tired?
Yeah.
Because that didn't go very well before this conversation. That's actually why we recorded this, because it went into that direction. Brought into question what on earth we're doing. And it's the same kind of thing of falling and being drawn into the system. It's just another direction of it. And I could hear it, and it was stressful to me. And I don't deal well with expressing that stress in a very simple, clear way, apart from pointing at it, and then the person continuing, and then I start, getting agitated. Whereas if we're doing a recording, I can just point at it and then just go.
We can do that tomorrow.
Do it tomorrow. Great. Okay. Well, maybe 1 hour 8 minutes. Gosh.